On Fridays, I want to make sure we can laugh at the lighter side of these things, and our resident humorist joins us right now, Barry Goldsmith. He is an esteemed professor at New York University. He actually, one of his finest students, he tells me, was one Frank Morano. And Barry is a student of, he's an expert in the art of architecture. He's also quite the funny man. He used to write for many famous people, Steve Doocy, who's now on Fox and Friends. Barry, thank you for joining us again. My audience, this week's been a tough week, okay? We're mentally drained. All this crap is going on. Aunt Jemima's gone. Uncle Ben's gone. Mr. Softy's gone. Eskimo pies are gone. Everything's gone.
Do you know, John, excuse me, since you mentioned Aunt Jemima, okay, you know, not only is the whole concept racist, but it's also ageist. And I'll tell you why. She's been around for 130 years, and she was never called great, 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 great Aunt Jemima.
There you go. Right. Now that makes sense, okay? And maybe, you know, there's some rules in the U.S., the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, and you can't even fire somebody when they're over 60. So I don't know how they're firing a 130-year-old person, but I know that
as a matter of fact, you know, I don't know. I know how she stayed on the shelf for 130 years. When she started, she was real maple syrup. But adding all those chemicals over the decades, God, it gave it extended shelf life. What can I say?
She was Uncle Jemima when this started. The transition went from maple to artificial. Let me ask you this. I know you're a professor of architecture, and you're always out there. You're the host of the Been There, Haven't Done That podcast. You got your radio show heard every Sunday here on WOR in New York City. I heard you're out there digging some things up. What have you been finding?
Yes, I'm also an amateur archaeologist. Well, last week when I was on, I said that beheading statues, which is a terrible trend that we have today, goes back to the French Revolution when they beheaded statues. The mob beheaded statues. But it goes back even further. It goes back to ancient Rome, as you can see here. And that's two beheadings, not just one.
Hey, you know what they say? Two heads.
That's a double header. That's a double header.
That statue was the inspiration for baseball's calling it a double header.
Yes, yes.
There you go. Write that one down. That was better. That was a better punchline.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. From Rome, we all like to go to Paris, okay, and we go to the Champs-Élysées. We have some croissants. What did you discover in Paris?
Well, the French also invented another way of destroying statues, like Joan of Arc. You know, what they do, people say history doesn't repeat itself, but statues can. And I just want to tell you, I really want to go back to Paris, but they're not allowing Americans in. So here's what I heard. This is what I heard, that the European Union is putting a border wall between the eastern seaboard, the beaches, and the Atlantic Ocean to make sure Americans can't get in. But I'm doing it anyway, John.
All right, so somehow you're going to jump the wall and you're going to get to France. Let me ask you this. I heard even locally here, you have showed me homes of presidents that lived in New York City and famous architecture and stuff like that. What have you found right here under our nose in Central Park?
Well, okay. Actually, what I found is a statue. And, you know, the statues are sick and tired of being attacked and not fighting back. But right near, a block away in Central Park from the Metropolitan Museum of Art is a king of Poland. And here he is before. People were attacking him, saying nasty things, cursing him, giving him the finger, and he got scared. So you know what he finally did? As you can see here, he finally took up arms. And hey, Second Amendment lovers, he's not taking it anymore. You see that?
Yeah, I see it. What do you think about you know, I know you're a student of architecture again. What do you think about them taking down the Teddy Roosevelt statue?
First of all, they didn't have to take him down. They just could have turned him around and had his ass face all the visitors and Central Park. I mean, and you know what? There are ways of adapting political correctness to presidents and to animals. Now, Teddy Roosevelt was a big hunter. I love his home, Sagamore Hill in Oyster Bay on the North Shore of Long Island. You go in there, and there's one animal head after another, big game lining the wall. What they could have done was just taken a bust, not the whole statue, not the horse, a bust of Teddy Roosevelt and mounted it inside the museum, the Museum of Natural History.
Hey, Barry, what about, I've been fooling around about Aunt Jemima. I've been, having, in memoriam to Aunt Jemima, I've been having my last bottle of it on my desk every day. But what about Quaker Oats? Quaker Oats owns the company. They also have this,
Yes.
cartoon Quaker guy on there. Are they in jeopardy?
They're in jeopardy now because of religion, the separation of church and state. They're going to have to rebrand and rename Quaker Oats Atheist Oats. And that's the only way you can go. But, John, I just want to say more about this statue business, okay? I don't know why they didn't keep the statues of Benedict Arnold. You just turn the statue, rotate it 180 degrees, do a complete about face, and you put in bronze daggers in his back, and you can keep Benedict Arnold. Plus, you know what's going to happen yet? We're going to get even with these people toppling statues. And you know how? They're going to start toppling statues of William Howard Taft. All right?
Why?
You remember William Howard Taft?
10 seconds.
He was our fattest president. And all the ones who were doing it, guess what? They're going to wind up in the ER with ruptured hernias. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, hi. Let's leave it on that. Great ending. Barry Goldsmith, thank you so much. All you out there, thank you. But don't go anywhere. Come on back. Hour 2 is going to get even better. I'm drinking gin and tonics.